Hi! So if you want to know how I make YouTube videos on audio engineering, recording and Cubase in my home studio and how much money I actually make doing that, you should check out this video. So let's go! Now so far I've made over 130 videos on this YouTube channel, averaging about one video a week. So in the time that I've been doing this, I've really gotten into a certain process to make these videos, and that's what I want to show you in this video. Now the videos always start with a certain subject to make a video about, of course. And what I usually try to do is that I make these subjects relate to something I'm doing in my home studio already anyway. For example, recording or mixing another wash song, or checking out an interesting plugin that I heard about. So this may lead to a video in which I discuss a certain part of the mixing process or the recording process, something that I think you guys would be interested in. Or maybe a certain part in Cubase that I learned about myself in the past period. Or a plugin review because I checked out a certain plugin. Now I usually put all of these ideas that I get in a list just on my iPhone really, so that there's always an abundance of subjects that I can make a video about. For example, this is part of that list on which I already made videos. Now when I've selected a certain subject to make a video on for a certain week, I start by preparing. And that can mean different things depending on what kind of video I make. For example, if I want to explain to you about the control room in Cubase, quite a popular recent video actually, I might go through all parts of the control room in Cubase to refresh my own knowledge about these parts, might read in manuals, may check out some of Steinberg's videos on the subject, so that I have a full overview myself of what's in the control room and that I can properly explain it to you. For a lot of these videos I might also make an example project during the preparation. For example, in the video in which I compare mixing with the stock Cubase plugins to mixing with a certain plugin Alliance plugin, I obviously have to make a project in which I do a mix with the stock plugins and a mix with, in this case, the AMEC 1999 plugin, which can take quite a bit of time. Now finally what I do in preparation is that I write a short script, mainly with bullet points about what I want to talk about in the video. So I just write this in Notepad++. So this is for example the script that I made for the standard plugins versus the AMEC 1999 plugin mix. Just some ideas for an intro, some subjects for the overview, and over here I actually wrote down quite a few detailed sentences that I wanted to use, but normally it's usually more like bullet points like this. What I want to talk about in the conclusion, and what links I need to include in my video description on YouTube. Now when I have a script containing what I want to talk about, the next part is the actual recording of the video. And one important part of the recording is the actual lighting, which is over there for me, but which you are not seeing. But I will show it to you now by recording it on my iPhone, because I have an Elgato key light over here, which basically illuminates my face from the left side. And that's really the only video light that I'm using. But I'm also using two more lights for atmosphere. One is a LED strip back there, which gives a more purple bluish color, because otherwise I noticed that the video is really very yellow. So this color nicely offsets against that. And in the back I have a small IKEA light, which hopefully also contributes to the atmosphere of the background. Now when I record a video, I basically record two streams. One of the streams is from the Nikon camera back there, and I have a link in the description to the camera that I'm using. And for me it looks like this. And another stream that I'm recording is the screen capture, which I use OBS for. And the screen capture actually also records my microphone, which is going through a cloud lifter to my A-Design Specifica interface, and then record it into OBS. And if you want to know exactly how I use OBS to record the screen capture and the audio stream, I already made a separate video about that, which I'll link at the end of this one. Now whenever I start recording, I do a sound sync, which is basically a clap in my hands, which gives a spike on this microphone as well as on the microphone on the camera. Even though I'm not actually using that audio, it's nice to get the video and the screen capture in sync, which I'll show you later in my video editing software. And another thing that I always do when I start recording another clip is I hold up a white card and a gray card in front of my face, so that I can correct any color differences between clips in my video editing software. I hardly actually have to do that, but at least I have the footage and I'm able to do it if necessary. Now after that I've recorded both the video and the screen capture, I usually have way too many footage to actually put in a video, so I need to edit those streams into a video that actually makes sense, and that's not longer than probably 10-15 minutes. Now for this purpose I use software called DaVinci Resolve. And there's actually a free version of that software that I used throughout the first 1.5 years of my YouTube channel. It worked fine. The only thing is that when I built my new PC with quite a capable video card, I also wanted to use that video card when rendering the video, and at the time I still needed the DaVinci Resolve Studio version for that. So I think it was around 300 euros at the time. I also got a nice speed editor as part of that deal, which I actually use more than I thought I would, and that's how I ended up with DaVinci Resolve Studio. Now if you look at this project in DaVinci Resolve, I basically always start with an empty template, which contains, for example, my intro, my typical texts that I have in the bottom here, some other standard footage like my Facebook likes and my please subscribe effect in the video, Instagram follow, and all of that stuff I make part of my template so that I always can use it in every video. But one of the first things I always do is that I import my clips that I recorded into DaVinci Resolve by just dragging and dropping. And as you can see over here, I usually have two streams, like I said. One is from OBS and one is from my Z50 Nikon camera. And then I combine them in the so-called multicam clip, in which I basically have two video streams on top of each other and the SM7B audio directly below it. And I can then use these multicam clips in my main timeline on this first video track, and I switch between Z50 footage and, for example, over here, this is OBS footage of my screen capture. And as you can see, there's lots of cuts and edits in this video with some additional text and images on top. So it's usually quite a lot of work to edit all of the footage to a finished video. When I'm done with the edit, I go to the Export tab in DaVinci Resolve, and I have my own settings for exporting, which you can see over here. I export to QuickTime as an H.265 video. I'm using the NVideo encoder in my video card, and I export at 4K 30 frames per second and a video quality of around 40 megabits per second. And if you want to see the rest of my settings, they're over here. So that's the editing part of a video. Now when I've exported or rendered the final video file, I upload it to YouTube in YouTube Studio. And an uploaded video basically looks like this in YouTube Studio. When you upload it, YouTube will start rendering the video in a couple of different video qualities so that it is supported on different screen sizes. And I basically fill out a title, all the text over here. And yes, a lot of this is standard and the same in most videos. But I do, for example, fill out the top part of the description differently. There's a chapter section that indicates where the various chapters in the video start so that you can easily switch from chapter to chapter if you want to. The relevant links are different per video. And obviously also these hash marks will be different per video depending on what the video is about. Now as part of the upload, you can also specify the monetization settings of the video. And I typically turn monetization on, which means that YouTube will show ads on the video, which bring me some income. But more on that later. I'll show you how much income that actually brings. And what I typically do is I do not turn on the during video, the mid-roll ads. Because even though I'm currently using YouTube Premium, so I'm not bothered by any ads when I watch YouTube videos, I still remember from the time when I was not subscribed to YouTube Premium, that is very annoying if you get ads in the middle of a video and have to wait before being able to continue the video. So I typically do not turn mid-roll ads on my videos, just so that it's a better viewing experience. Now, part of uploading and preparing a video is also making a thumbnail for the video. And I use two tools for that. One of them is Canva, which I only started using recently. But in Canva, it's really easy to make a YouTube thumbnail in a very, very simple way. And I also like Canva for the fact that it has stock photos, which are copyright free, so you can use them in your YouTube thumbnails without any problems. But before I started using Canva, I used Photoshop. And obviously Photoshop has many more features than Canva has, especially in regard to layering and subject selection, etc, etc. So for me, my thumbnails are currently made with a combination of Canva and Photoshop for the more detailed work. And those are really the most important parts of uploading the video to YouTube to get it distributed to all of you. Now, obviously, after I've put so much effort into a video, I really want people to watch it. And although by now YouTube does a pretty good job at actually distributing my videos to people who like this subject matter, I still do also prepare some posts about the video on the obvious social media channels like Facebook and Instagram. Now you can do that ahead of time so that at the moment of publishing the video, your social media post will also appear, and I use Creator Studio for that, which is part of Facebook and Instagram Business Manager. And the big advantage to me is that I can create one post which will be distributed to both Instagram and Facebook at the time that I schedule it. Now, apart from the social media posts, I do usually also prepare a shorts version of the video that I'm releasing, although I've only started doing it recently, since that YouTube has made it really easy to actually make a short of a longer form video on your mobile app. And I've just started experimenting with that a bit because YouTube is really pushing those shorts. And especially now that you can use them to advertise for your longer form videos, I see the benefit. I don't really have the time to make separate shorts on a lot of these subjects. Long form videos really take a lot of time already. But I will keep experimenting with shorts because it's really the thing to do at the moment if you want to promote your channel and get more subscribers and views, etc. Now for the big question, what does all of this bring me in terms of money? Now there's really 3 ways at the moment in which I generate money from these YouTube videos. One is so-called affiliate marketing. And when you look in my video descriptions, you will see that I always have affiliate links to some of the products that I'm using in the studio over here. And if you click on any of those links and then buy anything at those stores, I get a small commission without it costing you anything extra. So if you're actually planning to buy anything at one of these stores, then it would be really great if you could click that link before you actually make your purchase to support this channel. At the moment, I have to say that these affiliate links really almost do not bring in any money at all. But who knows towards the future. Now, a second benefit that I get from this YouTube channel is the fact that I sometimes get a free plugin for early access and or review. It doesn't happen to me very often yet because I'm only a small YouTube channel. But when it does happen, I always mention it in the video so that at least you know. Now, the third income stream, and that's obviously the biggest one, is the money that I get from YouTube because YouTube puts ads on my video. Now you have to realize that this is the ad income for a channel with just over 5,000 subscribers at the moment. But let's have a look at that. So this is part of the channel analytics, and you can see that in the last 28 days, I made around 135 euros. On the right side, you see the playback-based CPM, which basically means that this is the amount of money that advertisers are paying for advertising on my videos. So they're paying just under 11 euros for every 1,000 views. And what I'm getting is the RPM number here, which is 3.43 euro for every 1,000 views. Now, if you look at the last couple of months, now usually this is somewhere between 80 to 90 euros a month, although at the end of the year it usually rises, possibly because advertisers are spending more money on ads. Now, if you look at what does this mean considering the hours that I spent on the video, you should realize that I spend usually around 2 hours on the concept, the research and the script on average. If I make a mix video and I first need to make a mix, obviously I spend more time on mixing beforehand, but on average it's 2 hours on that part. The actual shooting of the video usually also takes 2 hours. And the editing, upload and social media part usually takes around 5 hours, which on average means that I spend around 9 hours on a video, which I usually separate out over 3 or 4 evenings in the week. Now, if you calculate the hourly wage from that, and let's take a good month, like the one which brings in 135 euros, that means it's an hourly wage of 3.75 euro per hour. And this is not even half of the minimum wage of somebody starting a job in Holland at age 21. So for me, this is definitely not something that I'm doing for the money, but it's more for the fact that I enjoy the process of making videos, explaining things to you guys out there, and getting nice feedback and being appreciated for what I do. And lots of you are always leaving nice comments on my videos, which I really appreciate a lot. And another thing that you can really do to support the channel is like the video on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, and maybe even push a little bell icon so you get notified when I post another video. Now that about wraps it up for this video. But if you want to know more details about how I use OBS to capture the audio from this microphone as well as the audio from Cubase and the screen capture, I already made a separate video about that you can check out over here. So enjoy that one and see you soon.